Three, two, one. John Miglash for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Yes, we're live and streaming again. Heaven help us. Okay, we've got lots of stuff going today, but what I wanted to talk about was the new Domino's ad campaign, which somehow I missed on the Super Bowl. This is a really fun deal here. And it's not resizing properly, but I will fix. There it is. That's good enough, I think, to see what's going on. Okay, so let's hit the play button and see what it's about.
At Domino's, we love pizza as much as you do. That's why we're giving you Piece of the Pie rewards points for eating any pizza from anywhere.
Pizza from here?
Yep.
How about from here?
That's right.
Homemade pizza?
I guess.
Homemade pizza?
That's a little better.
What about anchovy?
Any toppings.
New York style. Deep dish.
Any pizza.
What?
Download the Domino's app, scan
Oh man, so whenever you order
rewards points toward free Domino's pizza.
Whenever you eat any pizza, you got yourself, you can turn in a picture to Domino's and they will give you rewards points, and with 10 rewards points, I think, you get a free pizza. And I order from Domino's, so I have the app, I think, and I think I should get some pizza. Or I should download internet pizza pictures, crop them, and flip them. Anyway, and they make a big deal in a bunch of the marketing sites about how Domino's adds an AI element. Yeah, there's an AI element that it can recognize if it's a pizza. I don't know. There's no point to recognizing if it's a pizza, really, to be honest. But here's the point. And this is something that you might want to take to the bank. What Domino's is doing is they're getting people to download their app, number one. Number two, they're getting people to tell them, I eat a lot of pizza. You know, some are going to game it, and then they're going to try Domino's pizza. So it's a list building, because they download the app. It's a scale. It identifies the big pizza interest people, and it's a sampling program. So if you don't have Domino's pizza, you get to try it, right? With a little work that's related to pizza, which is a much better sampling program than most, because most of the time they're just giving it away whether you're interested in buying it or not. So a really, really excellent program. The part that bugs me the most is that they think that AI has much of anything to do with it. You could have done this not with the app and all that, but, send me a picture. It doesn't require AI to do this. It just requires a little creativity. This is great. It ends in, I think, April. So if you want to get your pizza, you better get going. Okay? But I just wanted to point out what a great idea that is, just to get the thing going. Okay, now, yesterday we talked about the CMO survey, which I do keep in touch with, and I watch and read stuff. And internet sales is flat or actually declining for the first time as a percentage of company sales. And I'm hearing that across the board, that the internet is just melting down. Yesterday we talked about Procter & Gamble cutting their web digital spending by 50%, and sales actually went up 2%. And one of the strategies that was offered yesterday was get serious about ROI. So on that note, I found this article this morning. Marketers must beware of over-relying on ROI. Oh my gosh. And this is, I have a bone to, she was Sarah Warby. She came from Sainsbury. And I have a bone to pick with Sainsbury because I drink their tea. I think I've shown it to you in a couple of episodes. And I used to take one of their tea packets, and it would go in and make a pot of tea in my coffee machine. And now it takes 3 or 4. They've watered down their tea. So Sarah, if you had anything to do with that, I don't like it. I'm mad at Sainsbury's, and you were in charge when that happened, okay? Because in 2012, the tea was great, and now it's not so great, okay? So maybe that's because a marketer took over. Anyway, she says if you construct an ROI that's a bit of crap because you're talking to the finance director, you'll fall over. She says sometimes you can't make sense of ROI, so you shouldn't try. you often can't pull the thread all the way through to an ROI, and you shouldn't try. That's because that's the point at which you look like an idiot when you're talking to anyone who's a chartered accountant. You know what? Grow up. Figure out what accounting needs and show it to them. And if you don't know how, read Scientific Advertising by Claude Hopkins, scientificadvertising.com. There's no excuse for marketers not to understand basic break-even. I helped some digital marketers. My client he said, we spent about $1 million downstairs. Would you go down and talk to them and see if they know what they're doing? And I asked them about their program, and they had an affiliate marketing program, and they said, but don't worry, we're breaking even. And what they meant by breaking even was that the sales they were generating was more than the cost of the program in incentives to the affiliates. I said, did you ever realize that the stuff we put in boxes costs us money? And they looked at me like deer in the headlights. They had no stinking idea of cost of goods. Basic. Okay? So get with a direct marketer. Here, I'll boil it down for you, okay? There is, when you sell something, okay, so you're going to sell this bolt. Okay, this bolt cost me about $1, okay, bolt and nut. I use it for fancy analytics. I can explain it to you someday. Okay, $1. If I'm going to resell that, I need to sell it for about $2. Okay, in the real world, if I manufacture it and it costs me 50 cents to make, it needs to sell for about $2. Okay, so there's a cost of goods. That's the cost of the materials, labor, design, overhead, etc. that's built into the object. But most people are resellers, so they just buy it for something and mark it up and sell it. Okay, that's cost of goods. Then there's cost of advertising. Okay, you probably get that because you're a marketer, that there's a cost not only of the ad, but also of your creative and all the rest of it, and the media charges and all that. Okay, and then there's overhead, and maybe sometimes marketing is built into overhead. You got to understand this. Okay, so she says, don't even try. She said, if you've got the credibility of hitting numbers every day, then you can have fancier conversations. That's what I would recommend. Okay, and then here's a hilarious article over here. Why so few CMOs become CEO? You know why? It's because the investors want to make money. And the CMO is over in fairyland, as we talked about in the Why Marketers Have Trouble with Reality. More must be done to increase the pipeline of marketers that move on to become CEOs. You know how you do it? Learn a little accounting. For heaven's sakes, God help us. If you can't make if you're going to give up on ROI because it's too hard, you're never going to be the CEO. You shouldn't be the CEO. If I were the chairman of the board or in finance, I would ban you and fire you before I would make you CEO. Okay? So grow up, marketers. Grow up. 36%. Finance people are 36% more likely. You know, it's worse than that, because in the CMO survey, they said only 2% of marketers are on boards of directors. So it's like non-existent. Okay? What the CEO believes about marketing is that it's a commodity. We'll try something new this time. We'll get a new CMO. He or she will have a new approach, and off we go. And that's how it works. Right? And it is interchangeable. Okay? Next year, we're going to get together. I'll be overwhelmed by the number of examples I can point to where someone in marketing is now leading their business. Not if Sarah Warby has anything to do with it. Don't try to do accounting if you're a marketer. Okay. You better figure out marketing. You better figure out accounting. Accounting is basically marketing. I got a gig at Deluxe Check one time. We spent 2 days figuring out why the marketing guy's numbers were off by 10%. I finally figured it out in a room with accountants, and they took me back to their office later and said, you know, you could be an accountant if you wanted to be. I thought, God help us. That's all the world needs. Anyway, grow up, figure out ROI. It's the only way to have credibility. Then you can have fun. They'll let you do whatever you want if you prove that you can do ROI. If you prove you can put $1 in and get $1.10 out, they will let you have any fun you want. And that's the way it works. I'm John Miglash for the WDMA and the International Society for Strategic Marketing. Share this with your marketing